guys, it's Khristina from Redefine Creative, and I am back with another process video for you today. And so I have pulled out some goodies from my January Clique Kit. So we have those two wood veneer pieces that you saw, some stickers there from Fancy Pants Yellow Door, and then it's combined with a bunch of elements from Paige Evans' Whimsical Collection. So I am taking these two different shades of green. So I have one darker and one lighter colored green, and they are going to form the background of my layout. And so what I originally am thinking that I am going to do is that I want to cut them in half so that I am doing like 6 inches of the dark green and 6 inches of the light green. Excuse me, sorry guys. And I decide that I want it to be a little bit off-centered so that it's not quite equal. And so I play around with that. And then I decide, well, that's not really enough of the dark green. So I go back to the 6 inch and 6 inch. But then what I end up doing when I glue them together is I'm going to move the dark green over just a touch and let a little tiny bit of that brighter, lighter color green show over on that left-hand edge. So kind of watch for that as I start to glue stuff down and put stuff together. So the kind of design idea in my head here is I wanted to take all of these circles and flowers and create kind of a row or a column of embellishing that goes right down the middle where these two different colors of pattern paper meet. And some of them are just going to be used as circles, some of them are going to be flowers, some of them are going to be stacked up, so I'm kind of doing them all a little bit different. And so I grab a piece of wax paper and I'm just pulling off the stickers that I think I'm going to use, and I'm going to stick them on wax paper. And this is definitely not a step that you would have to do, but this is one of those things that I tend to do if I'm being a little bit indecisive. So I'm not sure exactly what I want or where I want them to go. So I'm going to put them down on wax paper first. I could have cut them out, I could have tried to punch them out, anything like that. It doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to use my wax paper to kind of help me try and decide where I want all of these little stickers to go. So I know I want some to be dimensional, I want some to be layered, some are going to be flat. I really just want to create this one entire vertical column of embellishing. And so that's kind of what I'm going to start off doing here, is stacking things up. So I'm going to layer things together, trying to alternate the colors. Some of the bigger flowers, I decided I wanted one of the circles in the middle. And while I was doing that, I was thinking, you know, these would look really cute if I also put buttons in the center. So you're going to see me here in a second reach for some buttons that I can also add into this. So that's not something that I originally pulled out. It didn't come from the kit. It came from my stash. But often when I'm working on a layout like this in the middle, I'm thinking of things that I have in my stash that I might want to add or pull in. And so here I'm going to layering up some of those flowers. And there you can see I've gone to my stash and grabbed these Maggie Holmes buttons. And they come with some dimensional adhesive on the back, and so you get to see me struggle to take that dimensional adhesive off, because I don't feel like with buttons typically that I need all of that extra height. The buttons themselves add a little bit of bulk, so more times than not I end up taking that dimensional adhesive off of the back. And so I am going to go ahead and take just some crochet thread and use that to make some little bows in the centers. And I am liking how those flowers look. So rather than just having that flat flower sticker, I've paired it up with a contrasting circle sticker, and then I've also put a pop of color with the button tied with my little bit of string. So I'm bringing in more texture and more layers to really kind of spice things up and make them look a little bit more unique. Then I'm going to take some of these little teeny tiny flowers, and you can see me there kind of bending up the edges because I want them to be a little bit dimensional. And then I'm going to put them on some pop dots. So rather than have my buttons being the thing that is extra dimensional, the buttons are going to be one level of dimension, and then these little tiny flowers are going to be a different kind of level of dimension in my clusters, so that I have a few different heights going on. And so then I'm going to layer up my wood veneer title that's just going to say Free Spirit, which was a piece that came in that January Clique Kit. And then it also came with that heart piece that's going to go in that bottom left-hand corner of my photo. So I'm just making sure I'm happy with where everything is, and I really like my dimensional little flowers, but I'm deciding that they need something in the middle. So my other flowers have these like really cute buttons with these little bows, and then my other flowers were totally blank. They're just plain. So I grabbed some wood veneer, and these are called rustic hearts. And so SpiegelMom Scraps, which typically everyone knows them for sequins, has started to carry some really cool packages of kind of unique wood veneer. And so these are the Rustic Hearts pack, which is just a ton of different sizes of little hearts. And so I'm going to pull out some hearts that fit perfectly in the centers of some of those flowers. And I really like the little bit of extra texture and dimension that it adds inside those little flowers. So really, this layout is totally about creating those different layers and textures so that there's a lot of kind of interesting things to see in this line of embellishments that's going to go down my photo. And it worked perfectly with this photo because my daughter is centered in the left-hand side of the frame of the photo. So I have all of this free space on the right-hand side that is this really cool textured wall. So we took this picture in Disneyland. So there's a ton of texture along this kind of the background, which looks really cool behind that wood veneer phrase that is serving as my title. And it matches the little detailing that's on that wood veneer piece almost perfectly in color. So then I'm going to go ahead and head back to my SpiegelMom Scraps sequins, knowing that I need to get a little bit of extra color, shine, and bling on this layout because that is exactly what my daughter would want it to have. So I have grabbed the Pick Your Plum and Nature Walk mixes. And so I'm pulling out some of the kind of darker brown color for each one of my little sequin clusters. And then I've also pulled out kind of a plum color and then a real pale pink. And so you'll be able to see those a lot better in the close-up photos. But those are kind of where I'm headed with the sequins that I'm pulling out of the mixes. So I'm not using the mixes as is. I'm just kind of pulling the colors that I want to coordinate. And I'm going to line those up in 4 different places along my embellishment line through the middle. And then I'm also going to have a cluster over by that heart on the left-hand side. So really, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different little clusters of sequins that are going to go into the embellishing for this layout. And so even though this isn't like your typical rule of thirds, 3 embellishment clusters type of layout, it is still kind of set up that way. So I have my big long column of embellishments, but there's one part of it at the top, one part of it at the bottom, and then having that heart on the contrasting side of the photo still kind of creates that triangle, but it allows your eye to move from the top of the page to the bottom of the page. So then I went ahead and grabbed these stickers that also came in the January kit, and they have these really fun little leaves in gold. And so I really like the idea of bringing in that pop of gold because it does really match the photo well. So I have tucked just a few of those little pieces of gold foil leaf into some of my flower clusters, and that's going to do it for this layout. So it came together super quickly and allowed me to pull in goodies from SpiegelMom Scraps as well as my January Clique Kit. And thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll be back to see you soon.